I the eagle for telling my daughter's biological father he wasn't a dad and ripping off the check he gave me? My ex left me when I was pregnant and told me he had no interest in having a child or being a dad to our daughter. She's just turned 4 and he has made no effort to see her or be in her life until last month. Last month, my brother gave him my address because he's finally had enough of living it up and wants to settle down and be a family man now. When he came to my home, I refused to let him in or let him see my daughter. He told me he was her dad and deserved to see her, which really pissed me off. I told him he wasn't a dad, and if he was her dad, he would have been there for the night feeds and the dirty diapers. He would have heard her first words and seen her first steps. He would have been there to comfort her when she had nightmares or congratulate her when she learned something new. He told me I didn't need to make him feel guiltier and that he had been young and made a mistake back then, but he wanted to make up for it now. He tried to give me a check, but I ripped it up in front of him and told him not to come back. After I ripped the check, he told me I was being stubborn and making this difficult for no reason. I told him to leave or I would call the police. We've been fighting both through lawyers and whenever he gets especially angry and decides to call me since. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Here's a comment from SWTP 428. All the "you're the a-hole" clearly don't have a child that was abandoned by the father. Not the a-hole. Here's another comment from Rocker 49107. I was actually abandoned by my father, and I wish he would came back after 4 years and we could have had a decent relationship, especially if he left before I knew him and came back as I was just learning to remember. I'm not saying she would move in with a guy or anything, but he should have some ability to be in the kid's life. If he flakes again, then that would be it, and she could hit him with an abandonment suit and get it legally that he has no rights. But I think he deserves a chance, at least. I am also a father myself, and I let my ex have rights even though I don't think she deserves them, because it's better for the kids to have access to both parents. If the daughter finds him in secret later in life, you never know how that could go. Maybe she'll be a good influence on dad as well. My kids changed my life 100% for the better. Here's another comment from Key Space Panda. I was a kid that the dad abandoned and came back at 4 years old, and honestly, it was so much worse than it had never shown up at all. Another comment. I'm one of those kids as well. Mine popped in and out when he felt like it. My mom never stopped him. He just went and made a new family and kind of forgot about us. It caused some massive abandonment issues for me, but for my younger brother, it was worse. Now at 34 and 30, we can talk to him and spend time with him without being bitter, but he invented in his own head this relationship that just isn't there. Thankfully, we have our stepdad, who is honestly the most amazing man ever. Next story. My wife, 28, texts with her guy friend a lot. Hello, I am concerned that my wife's texting with her guy friend is excessive, inappropriate, and more than just friendly talk. She has known this guy since before we met back in high school and considers him one of her best friends. I know that there is a history between them from back then, and she says they are now only friends. There is also history here where she strayed from our relationship last year for a bit, and we have since been working through things and our relationship is back to being very strong. I do not like this guy, nor has he ever made any attempts to get to know me, which to me is pretty telling. Also, my wife has a habit of deleting text messages, something that I constantly make clear to her that I don't like or want her doing. The texting is excessive enough to where she had over 3,800 text messages last month on our bill and has already racked up over 1,400 this month. That doesn't include iMessage, which we both have iPhones, so it's not including our conversations. I am to the point to where I either want to send this guy a message to step off or give my wife an ultimatum and tell her she either chooses him or me. I don't want to do this because I don't want to come across as someone who tells her who she can and can't be friends with. But I don't want to constantly feel like I have to be looking over my shoulder. When I confront her about this, she gets extremely defensive and tells me I'm never going to trust her and says that he sometimes says inappropriate things and that's why she deletes the messages. I know that I am at fault for checking our phone bill usage when I'm online and I do have moments of weakness where I just don't feel loved by her or that I'm just another person in her life. I truly do dig in hopes of finding nothing so that I can one day not have to worry about being hurt again. How should this situation be handled? Top advices from Loading Brain. The amount of text is pretty telling. Talking to other people is one thing, but giving one person that much of their time and resources? Yeah, that's not sounding good. Here's a comment from Self-Inflicted. Divorce your serial, cheating, emotional affair having wife. Here's a comment from Glad Wolverine. There's a saying back home of what you're feeling. Onde tempo maka tempo go. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Trust your gut. I can almost guarantee based on everything you said that if you end things with her, that dude will be there to fill the spot before you can even tell your family or friends about the breakup. Here's a comment from NoSelf879. Well, don't want to come out rude, but talking to someone with who you got relationship with in the past is kind of weird. Many people will agree, and many won't, but I think you should invade her privacy. Here's a comment from ZManDude24. Deleting the messages is a huge red flag. If it was only him that got out of line, then she wouldn't be so afraid of showing it to you. I will ask her nicely and not like you are going to bust her to see what's going on. If she keeps being secretive, it's time to get a lawyer so you won't get screwed over with divorce.